played y'all in the bubble when I was in Miami, and I was like, yo, white dude can hoop. I think because when I see you initially, man, as soon as you catch the ball, press up into him hard and see what he can do. They normally fall. Like you normally out there to shoot. And you shot one from deep so comfortably. I'm like, it's like that. And I'm like, all right, I'm in him. He ain't gonna get a shot off. And then next time I try to get in you and you drove, I'm like, oh, he got it.
But that's the thing I love. Like when you what you just said is, I'm not a shooter. Like,
bro, you a shooter, bro. You can shoot.
I'm not a shooter.
I'm watching you work out, bro. And my son came to practice,
for sure.
And I said, watch Donte's legs on his shots. Like you shoot from deep, effortlessly. So we have one of the top players from Delaware ever. And walk me through how you got to sit where you're sitting right now on point forward. Like, how did you end up here at point forward?
Like going way back?
Wherever you want to start. How did you end up on point forward? And then wherever you go, we'll go from there.
I kind of felt some type of way. I saw my guy on the podcast, Bones. And
Delaware guy.
And I was like, damn, Delaware guy's on the podcast. I can't get on the podcast. I'm teammates with Andre. It was crazy. So that's how I ended up here. I gave you some shit for it.
I love that answer.
I felt some type of way.
Now to follow up, since you have stories about your other fellow Delaware statesman. My man jumped out of a burning building and he made it to the league. So you got to walk me through your most adverse moment in life.
Listen, my basketball career has been super kind of weird, honestly. I played soccer. Like,
I want to dive into that.
Like I played soccer growing up. Like I really only played basketball December and January, like CYM type shit. And then like at the park with my brother in the summertime. Like all year round I was playing soccer since I was like 3 years old.
Since 3?
Yeah, I was traveling. We were #1 team in the country. Like yeah, my travel coach and all my travel teammates went to the high school that I was like actually went to, and I was gonna go there to play soccer and everything, and decided I was like, you know what? No, I want to hoop. Like I want to really turn to hooping, and my parents are like, all right, cool. Like, but you sure? Like, you can do both. And I just played soccer because I was good at it.
So you stopped playing soccer when you start hooping?
Like, so I was hooping kind of. Like I was hooping, but it wasn't like I wasn't playing AAU ever.
Right.
I wasn't playing no travel, nothing. Like it was CYM, like practice twice a week, and that's it. And then during that time of playing CYM basketball, I would go play indoor soccer after practice.
Yep.
So my parents were driving all over just to play soccer, like all the time. And then getting into high school, I was like, you know what, I just want to hoop. And I went to a high school that was #1 or 2 in soccer in the country.
Now, I couldn't figure out the proper way to pronounce the school.
Salesianum.
Damn.
So people just call it Sally's.
Salesianum.
Yeah, people call it just Sally's.
Sally's.
Yeah, it's short. But they were known for lacrosse, baseball, football, and soccer. And they were never they never won a state championship in basketball. Really never really had anybody really go there for basketball. And we won state championships, the first ever my junior year, and then back-to-back junior, senior year.
Wow.
And then that's like, I really didn't know, like I got my first offer. I started really hooping like my freshman year of high school. And then I got my first offer my sophomore year of high school from LaSalle in Philly. And then it kind of...
I mean, that's still pretty good, bro. To get an offer as a sophomore from LaSalle, I mean, that's big time because most dudes don't really get offers till junior year. So what gave you the gumption that, like, were people pushing you like, yo, Donte, you can really hoop, dog. Why are you playing soccer? Or like, was it like the soccer hate that we have in America? Like, bro, nobody gives a damn about soccer in America. Go hoop.
I think it was the music affecting him. What kind of music was you listening to? We saw them tweets. and now that I know you, I forgot all about that. I really didn't like you at a moment in history of my life. But I didn't know you.
Listen.
Now it all checks out.
I saw him. When I seen him, I'm like, bro, this dude ain't like he's not racist or nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was like that, how he was. I'm like, bro, he really think he like with the shits. He not.
But there's also a lot of tweets that came out that were not me.
Gotcha.
And my boys in high school, like, they thought they were funny. I deleted the Twitter app. I didn't delete the Twitter.
Oh.
So, like, we would have practice at school. Like, from school to practice, there'd be downtime. We messing around, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is in high school. You just mess with it. You know, like,
right.
I'll get on your phone and send a text to somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
Came out, there was some wild stuff that came out, and I didn't know about it until the championship.
Oh, okay.
So I had just had the game of my life.
Yep.
Championship.
Yep.
And the media comes up, it's like, hey, did you say this? I'm like reading it out loud in the mic. And I'm like reading it. Coach Wright was like, what? Like, I was like, no, I never said, like, I really, truly never said that.
No, I believe you.
And some wild stuff. And yeah, that was like, I declared for the draft. I'd explain it to every team I had an interview with. It was crazy.
And I think that's something you go through. Like, they kind of can build character. Like, just facing some nonsense. And, you know, we've had this new introduction to this new theme we have here, you know, called, you know, cream. Like, would you like cream with that? Like cream with your coffee. And it's just, you're the minority. You're the minority now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In this world. But you're really entrenched into the culture, you know, from your swag to, you know, the people you like, just the things you like. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, like, you are who you are. Like, I can tell you're not one of those guys who's trying to be black.
Yeah.
You're just a person who enjoys what you enjoy. Like, somebody called me sensitive the other day because I've been referencing a lot of SZA songs or whatever. Like, You and Your Feelings. I'm like,
album's fire.
I just like SZA. Like, you are who you are. You're a natural, like, you naturally are who you are. And so going through that, you know, how has that affected your interactions with other folks, whether it be GMs or high-end organization or with your teammates? You know, kind of how has that been for you?
I mean, it's kind of easy for me. I don't really bring up any of that stuff.
I mean, just in terms of, like, who you are. Like, you're just a naturally cool dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You like the music you like, and you dress the way you'd like to dress. And, you know, we get stereotyped all the time. Like, as athletes, as African-Americans, and just the swag you have. Has that changed your interactions with some white people and some black people? You know what I mean? Because I think that's a real question.
Yeah, I think, and I feel like you both have this, like, it's like a skill to be able to adapt to your environment.
Right.
And I think that's something that, what you say, I don't try to act a certain way. I am who I am.
Right.
And in my comfort zone, you know, in the locker room, whatever it is at home, like, I am who I am. I'm not going to change. But, like, when you go into a professional setting, there's certain ways to dress. There's certain ways to talk. There's certain ways to carry yourself. And you have to be able to adapt to that, because you can't come in saying, you know, if I come in the locker room and talk to you for 5 minutes, I can't go up into the front office and talk to Bob the exact same way.
Right.
It's just, that's not the way you handle yourself. But at the same time is both of those situations are me. Like, if I go up and talk to Bob, I'm not authentically like myself.
Right.
Like, I'm still myself. It's just in a different setting. That's all. And I think that's a skill that people, I think I have, and, you know, a lot of guys in the league have, to be able to adapt to different settings.
Nice. So was that kind of like we said, we call, you know, playing off the words of cream, they call Villanova like Vanilla Nova. Was that type of situation of going into Villanova, was that adjustment for you? Because clearly it's a private school. We're both from Philly, so I'm definitely understand what type of demographic is over there, and, you know, the personality over there. What was your time like at Villanova, and then, you know, adapting to, you know, leaving Delaware for the first time and really going to a big city?
It was just like my high school. To be honest with you, my high school was the exact same.
Interesting.
But it was, in high school, I went to an all-boys school. I went to all boys Catholic school. And then I went to Nova. It was like the exact same. You just add girls.
Right.
And it was a small school. I think it was like 6,500 undergrad. So to that point, it was kind of very similar. Like, my friends were my teammates in high school, and my friends were my teammates in college. Like, you spend so much time with those guys.
Yep.
You really don't have time. Like, if y'all do anything, y'all do it together. dinner, you go out, you going out together. Like, you're not like, there's also a skill, like dudes that I play with, like Mikal, he was friends with everybody on campus. And I'm like, bro, how do you get to interact with all these people? Like, I'm exhausted at the end of the day. And he's like, he's just gone. Like, he's like, I'm going with Michael to go get pizza and this and that. I'm like, who? Like, right. I just hung out with my teammates. But so it was very similar to my high school, but still an adjustment for me because I really wasn't fully adjusted to my high school because I went to public school growing up until high school.
What about the adjustment when you showed up on campus? I mean, you come from Delaware. Obviously, you're very decorated. And, you know, you had a great career, back-to-back championships, but now you're stepping it up to a new notch in competition level. And you came in with Jalen Brunson, who was also, I believe, National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He just came from Team USA, being MVP of like the U18 game, and you had Ryan Arthey. Was Ryan there, or did he just leave out?
Yeah. So my freshman year was his senior year.
So, I mean, and the championships and everything like that, like, you weren't stepping on and going to like University of Delaware or going to LaSalle. Sure. You're stepping on going to like a real blue blood.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like with Jalen, like, bro, that's hard. Like, I lived with him. Like, he was my roommate.
Yeah.
So
and he was a man.
Yeah. So no matter where we went,
right,
it was Jalen and that guy.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in my life I'm like, damn, I'm really like, I'm that guy. Like, I'm not.
Little bro.
Yeah, like, it was crazy. But there was a point where I was like, man, fuck this. Like, I want to go somewhere else. Like, honestly. But Jalen was, you know, what helped our relationship so much was he never carried himself that way. Like, he never did. He always did the whole, like, put me out there, say my name, shout me out, like, build me up. And it wasn't in a way to be like, to defer from him. It was just he knew what situation he was walking into.
Gotcha.
And you know, we lived with each other throughout college, and you know, like, we best friends now. So it's that helped our relationship for sure.
You said you wanted to transfer? You wanted to leave?
I wanted to leave. Yes, for sure. I wanted to leave. I wanted to go to Temple.
This man lost his mind.
I wanted to go to Temple. Huh?
That's crazy.
He wanted to live in the hood.
There was a bunch of reasons. You know, just situation in Nova, it takes a very particular player and person to be able to have success there, and you got to be really, really mentally strong. Like, and you don't understand it until you leave. Like, the best thing is, you know, Coach Wright was like, "Nah, you're not transferring." Like, that's the best thing that happened to me. Is like, we really had those conversations, and he was like, "You need to stick it out and figure this out," and then, you know, a couple months later, I declared for the draft. But
that's crazy.
I didn't understand any of that stuff until afterwards, and now I can talk to them on the phone, and we talk about things that, you know, that changes your whole perspective.
Right.
But when it comes to basketball, I am a little bit crazy. Like, and I think you have to have that.
Yep.
I think I do a good job of adapting to, like I said, my environment, my setting. But it also goes to, like, basketball, like figuring it out in the game. Like, I was never, even in high school, like, I was never the top scorer on the team. So, like, how do I figure out how to, one, win the game, but two, how do I be productive?
Right.
Like, how do I make a name for myself? So, like, each team I've played for so far, like, there's always a challenging period of trying to figure that out. And then once you figure it out, you're like, damn, like, he can actually do this. It's just being able to adapt to whoever else is on the floor, because I'm never that first, second, third, or fourth guy on the floor.
Right. But, I mean, you go look at what you did in college.
But I didn't start. I came off the bench.
So you were Final Four MVP, right?
Yeah.
And that was all from coming off the bench.
Yeah, Jalen got in foul trouble in the championship, and I went in early. And Mikal, like, first play, he dribbled a handoff with me. I hit a three, and I just got cooking. But I never was a scorer. Like, I always was. Jalen was doing post up. Mikal was shooting threes. Like, I was getting offensive rebounds and just driving and passing to people.
But you averaged like 13 a game or something like that, right? It's like
So it was like I was like the third leading scorer on the team or something like that.
Yeah.
But Jalen was like 19 or something. Mikal was like 18. So like those dudes did all the thing. Like, I was never in the spotlight for any of that, and I never wanted to be. That's the thing. It was that fine line of like, when I got 30 in the championship, like my whole life like blew up, and I was like, man, it's cool, but like, I like being solid. Like, I like being solid right in the mix. That's all.
Yeah. No, but it got you right to where you needed to go because obviously you were able to get drafted, but it said a lot about your tone and like what type of player you were. You're a blue collar dude that was tough to really stick it out, and you had those superstars, but the stuff that you did helped win national titles, and clearly to this day it's been helping a lot with the teams you've been on.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll jump into that. You know, just coming into this profession of the NBA and everything that comes with it. You know, what were some of your first memories in terms of not just playing an NBA, being an NBA player, but what was your mindset like day to day? Like, what were you thinking? You know, I'm gonna be here for a long time. I can't wait to do this. You know, off the court, like, how did it change your life and how you thought?
You don't realize how hard the NBA is until you really are in the NBA, like in it. Like the daily grind of everything. When you're young, it's the worst. It's like you playing play group, you doing shoot around practice, everything the team does you do, and then you're doing everything more. Yeah, it's like all the rehab guys. If you're young, you're thrown into everything. Yeah, and then you go into the you play a G League game. I remember I played a G League game. Drive back, you playing an NBA game at night. Yeah, you're constantly like. You're like, why is it like this? I'm tired. How do you want me to be productive if I'm exhausted? Right. And then, like, you know, treatment times, like, you're the first one there. You're the last one to leave. And when it works out, everybody's like, oh, you're the first one in the gym, last one to leave. Oh, great story, this and that. It's like, bro, I had no choice. Like, right. Yeah. Like, that's just how it's set up. And that was the hardest part, was, like, doing all that. And being in like a cold city like Milwaukee, like there's not much to do. Right. It's an amazing city, but there's not much like activity stuff to do. So like it's literally like hoop and chill. Right. Which is perfect for me. It was the perfect spot to start my career. There was not many distractions.
Well, what was it like when you guys went on that championship run and you were injured? Because there's not much to do, and you're a big athlete, you're a big competitor, and you know you're getting injured. Or you have to sit out and do rehab while some of the most exciting times of the season are going on.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know when it was, I heard Andre was talking about like the NBA brought some of the darkest moments. Yeah, that was by far the darkest moment for me because I started every game during the season. I was like a key piece to that team, like everybody thought. And then I get hurt. So I'm thinking like, you know, the vibe is like everybody's down, right? And we sweep Miami and everybody's like, all right, cool, we survived Miami. But we're missing something. Like that was the vibe. Like we're missing a piece. Right. So like how far is this gonna go? When we kept winning, I kept getting deeper and deeper in the hole. Yep. Yeah. And it wasn't that I didn't want to win. And it wasn't that I was selfishly like, I don't want them to win because I'm not on the floor. But naturally, everything starts to, you know, go into your head. Like, do they really need me? Like, was I like, and then you start questioning everything you did throughout the year. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not trying to do this rehab stuff. I ain't trying to do this. Like, I just was like in a dark, dark place. And it was tough.
I think we should unpack that more, or we should unpack that now. We always talk about that ET. When somebody get hurt or when you get hurt, you looking at that schedule. Yeah. Like, man, it does not look good if we win and I'm hurt.
Yeah, no, and as a real competitor and somebody that knows basketball, it's like, no, to be honest, they don't. If they're winning, as a coach, if it's not broke, why fix it? You don't really have any real argument or anything like that. But I think we're just getting to the beginning of like unpacking because it's deeper than just getting hurt. Like, right now, my man's is in a situation he shouldn't be in. He should be making $15 and $16 million a year. Correct. So not only did he get hurt after help leading them, help set a tone, everything like that, he got traded off. They brought in another cream. He had to go thug it out in Sacramento, who literally is still trying to figure out which way is what during that time.
And that weighed on me. That weighed on me too. Like, I got traded to Sac twice.
Yes.
And everybody forgets that I got traded for Bogey. the season.
Oh yeah.
So I got traded to Sacramento twice.
Yeah.
So when I got the sack, I was like, I'm gonna be here for forever. Like,
right.
This is my new home. And then all of a sudden, like, they didn't give me a qualifying offer. So like now I'm back in this place where I'm like, wait,
and you're
I'm just coming back off my surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm just questioning everything.
And as a starter, you make a certain amount of money.
No,
like you're saying,
earn money, bro. You shouldn't even be in that position.
He really shouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, when I seen him do that, and you're going to be fine. When I seen him do that, I'm like, bro, they're really finna do him like that after all he just did. Like, but it's deeper than rap.
And that's the tough part of everything of the the daily grind in the NBA, because you really got to understand the business factor. Because like as messed up as it seems as players, like you earn a certain amount of money and you do a certain thing. Like from a business standpoint, it makes sense for the team to do certain things the team does.
Correct.
Like, so like from when I was in my situation in Milwaukee, like, yeah, that was like I was up for an extension. I was looking at a certain amount of money and this and that, but when I get hurt, everything changes. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, everything changes.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, because from a business standpoint, why would you don't know when I'm going to come back.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Correct. So like, but then they, from the business standpoint, they find somebody that's healthy, that can shoot the ball, can balance. And then let's see when Donte is when he comes back. Mm-hmm. So, but it was so, for me, it was so, my mindset, my rehab was, it plays a factor, is you got somebody that's new coming in your position and you're in rehab. Do you take your time or do you try to get back? Because I'm going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So do you not rush, but do you speed up your process of your rehab to get back to produce? But if you don't produce, like, did you rush your rehab? Yes. Or do you take your time and stretch that out and be really 100%, but you only played 15 games at the end of the year?
Correct.
And then that's a knock on you. So it's like it's that balance every day. It's tough.
Yeah, it's only but so many Elton Brands and Stefanskis where you tear your Achilles, you still get the max off of 6-7 games. But you said something that kind of like raised my eyebrows. When you were saying you understood the business side and you understood, like, if I'm in a position as a team, I got to make a decision for my business, and you understand it as a player, which is tough to do. Here's my issue. This loyalty thing we get from fans, and we got more money than ever because of what? Gambling and what do they call it? Gaming has brought more money. It's brought more viewerships. I just read the numbers coming from Christmas Day, where the NFL got a bump in this was one of their few Christmas Day games, and they had a higher viewership. I think it was 24.
27 was one game, 24.
Yeah, 24 million was the average.
Yeah.
But the NBA numbers went up by 20% too.
Yeah.
And they're seeing that the more, now that they have in-game betting, the viewership goes up with the more betting, and people are going to continue to bet. And with that comes more negative energy from the fan base.
For sure.
Like, Famous Los is my guy, but I even see Famous Los, like, he'll have his picks, like he has 7 scenarios.
The prop bet stuff.
His prop bets. And then his last one doesn't hit. And he's like, man, Looney just needed one more layup and I would have won.
Yeah.
And it's just that energy that brings it to it. And so you get that loyalty thing from fans and saying a guy's not loyal. But we always talk about that. It's the wealthy versus the rich when we go through collective bargaining agreements, is where they want us to understand a team's business moves. We talk about that with the Warriors and equity with certain figures who have helped build that, even though he's being compensated according to the CBA, his value is more than that. And we have to understand it from a business perspective. But the moment that guy decides to leave, he's disloyal to the fan base. And that's what it's just a sad thing. And I guess it's, they always say that's what you get paid for. You get paid to deal with the nonsense. But at some point, like, people need to know, like, that's kind of some bullshit for real.
But also on the other side, I think the winning, like, if you're winning, like, use, like, I just want to use, like, GP as an example, right? No one's going to fault him for going elsewhere in free agency.
Yeah.
Solely because, like, he came here, he helped win a championship.
Yes, he did.
He did his job.
Yes, he did.
And now he's getting paid what he deserves to get paid. Now, if that happens and, you're losing, then now you got certain fans, you got certain people that feel some type of way because you guys lost. Now you're taking money to go elsewhere and not try to win here. I think that the winning factor plays into it for my situation was like we won and
Right.
I'm hurt.
Right.
Now it's like, man, we don't need him.
Right.
Like, and I'm like, man, like, do y'all need me? Like, I'm really thinking about it. And the games that we go into the next year that we would lose, I knew it was proud because I felt good. Like I was like, yeah, they're missing something. Like they're missing me in this situation or whatever. And then they would win, and I'd be like, damn. But it wasn't a selfish thing. It wasn't like I wanted them to lose. It was just like I want to be a part of it. I want to feel like wanted and involved in winning games there. And that's the battle.
Well, I think this is kind of the conversation is going there, so I'm gonna kind of stay here. How have you been able to deal with it and keep this calm, evenness about yourself, where I don't see you pressing when you're out there in the court? Like the other night, you came to the bench and you said, "Man, I feel like Draymond out there." You had 7 assists and 7 rebounds. You was like, "Bro, I can't score, but I feel like I'm doing everything to win."
Yeah,
and which is it's a cool feeling to have, but at the same time, it's only but Draymond who can be properly compensated for winning. Most of the time, if you're not scoring a lot of points, your winning ways aren't compensated, and that's why that Draymond's very appreciated because he's able to be compensated for playing the right way, which is not normal in the NBA. And so, staying with that theme early in the year. This year you weren't playing as much. We were trying to figure out our second unit, the minutes up, minutes down. Jermichael going through the same thing. That second group, we couldn't figure out the balance of it. Sending Wise down to the G League, trying to figure this and that out. Playing on the road, but your play of recent is telling everybody that you're going to play a whole lot for us, and it's going to happen. But I never seen you waver through it all. Like you've been the same amount of work. You even had a little injury you had to deal with. But in saying all that, how have you been able to have this very professional approach? And you're still young. Like people forget, like, you have maybe it's the cream of you. People see you as older and more mature, but you have this mature way of, going about your business. So let's just talk about that.
It's not easy.
Right.
I'll tell you straight up, it's not easy. Like,
yes, you're right. Like I appreciate that.
If you brought my girl on the podcast, like, she probably tell you 100 stories, like when I go home and just unload.
Right.
But that's my, that's my house. That's my safe space. That's where, get it out. And then you come into work and you're a professional. But for me is, there's a lot of things that I do that the frustration comes from because, a lot of things I think I do that don't still show up in the stat sheet. Like I make a lot of the hockey assist type passes or, the screen assist type things or just little things. And if you understand basketball, I think they're valued. But to the average fan, I think the NBA has turned such to, analytical and the percentages and this and that and going left, going right. Can he do this? Blah, blah, blah. But I think my approach this year, which is different, is I'm not worried about anything. Like, I was like 0 for 3 or 4 from 3 before the shot in Portland. I had it just didn't register. Like I didn't think about it at all. And I think this year is like good play, bad play. Like I don't care. I'm just gonna be me. And I think that's really helping me. My agent is freaking awesome. Shout out Jason Glushan. Like he will hit me and talk to me about like, man, just be, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Good day, bad day.
Yep.
You're going to come back and keep shooting them tomorrow, keep doing this tomorrow. Like, it's never you need to do this. You need to turn this around. Like, because that puts added pressure on you. Like, we got enough pressure on ourselves. Like, one, I got enough pressure on me because of the, what E.T. talked about, like the situation I walked into. Like, you take a certain amount of money to come to a team where you need to prove yourself to get back to where you think you should be. So that's enough pressure in itself. So then... Now you go into every game. I can't be like, oh, I was 1 for 3 from 3 today. I need to be, 2 for 3 tomorrow. Right. I'm gonna play awful.
Right.
So just coming in and not caring and just hooping and seeing what happens is the beauty. I think we had a back-to-back. I scored Charlotte. I scored 0 points. I was 0 for 5. Came back next game, had 19.
Right.
It was like 5 for 8 from 3.
Yep.
Like I didn't care.
Yep.
I just was like, they going up. Good looks, they going up, and that's how I kind of play now.
And one thing, I think I saw a clip. You waved Clay off so you could guard Dame. And it literally, I mean, that sounds like nothing because you're such a competitor. But when you break it down, Klay is historically the lockdown defender. You wave them off like crunch time, like I got it, and like you pick them up at half. You pick them up at 3, and you pick them up nowhere, and you legit were intent.
But
go to battle.
The beauty here is like how much confidence that Steve instills in me to guard the top guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's right.
And it's not like you look at when Steph is out, Wiggs is out. You look at the matchups before the game. Like it's helping Klay be productive on the offensive end if I can exert energy guarding on the defensive end. So he doesn't have to do certain things.
Right.
So it helps the team, but it also what sometimes coaches don't realize is how much confidence it's giving me.
Mm-hmm.
Where like when we come into timeout at the end of the game and he's like, yo, you got Dame. I was like, bet.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I got Dame.
Yeah.
Like and he's cooking, he got 30 or something like that. Like so it just makes you want to play that much harder and that much like you can't mess up. And I think when you build like a lot of these like different coaches and stuff, there's situations where confidence is a hell of a thing. Yes. And you can take it or you can really instill it in players, especially like you said. I'm still young.
Yes.
Like I'm not 10 plus years where I'm like you ain't gonna affect me. Like you still gonna affect me. Yeah. Naturally, you're gonna affect me what you say to me.
Yes, sir.
I mean I show it, but like in my game I may show it. So that's the thing is like. The beauty of being here is like, hey, you got so and so. It's like, damn, cool, I got him.
Right. So our next thing, we always move into a segment called Guns and Butter, and it's basically discussing, the decisions, the small micro decisions we made that might not seem like a big deal now, but have paid large dividends, later. And I know you already mentioned a few things, and you're still transitioning. But what's something else that you can really attribute to where you're at now and continue to elevate?
Taking care of my body. I came into the league, I didn't know what a cold tub was or, nutrition was. Like I was like, man, I'm cool, I'm gonna play tomorrow, and that's what I did. Now man, I need everything. Like, you just need it. Like, and you just have an understanding like if you eat like shit for a couple of days in a row, you gonna feel like shit. Like that's just how it is. So that's the biggest thing for me is Dot actually told me health is wealth.
Sean Livingston.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sticks up here.
Yep.
Like he said it to me. We were talking. I don't know. I think I messed up my hamstring or something. And when he said it to me, like everything kind of like stopped. Yep. I was like, damn, no, he's right. Like, it don't matter what you do, how productive you are in a short amount of time. But, like, as long as you healthy, like, this shit can last so long in the league. Mm-hmm. And that's what really started clicking for me is like, man, you got to really take care of your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. And we have this joke. Like, we used to joke about David Lee. And David Lee would always... whenever he saw another white player on the court, like he was about it. And that was, I had my qualms with David Lee. Good dude, though. Yeah. But that was one thing I truly loved about him is that when he saw another white dude, he was like, he's mine tonight. Like, I'm going to have the big night. And in saying that, we talk about race and, we talk about the cream of it all, the cream of the coffee. How has it been for you as the minority in this sport? And then how do you approach it? And is there like a competitive undertone to going up against other white players in the NBA? We're talking about like American white, not like the Europeans, but like just.
I think for me is like what he said about like I got him tonight. Mm-hmm. It's less of that for me, and it's more of like Pat when Pat was on the team. Like to have other white people on the team, it bugs me. It bugs me. Like I love Pat to death. Like
yeah, but they will always catch you like the team like PR guy. Y'all always be walking.
Yeah, we always walk in. That's my guy. But it's always like the white guys.
Right.
I'm like no, like that bugs me. Like I mess with Ty all the time. I'm like Ty, you're light skinned. Like I'm the only white guy on the team. Like and. But like to that, it allows me to play with a chip on my shoulder. Like going into the game every night, like oh, you know how it is. Like, you're going to attack the white dude first. It's just naturally how it's going to be. So if I know on the opposing scouting report, like, we're not calling Donte up in the pick and roll. Good.
Yep.
You ain't want. I'm not gonna be an adjustment. Yep. Like, I don't want to be an adjustment. Like, I want to be able to red, switch, guard, everything. And if I'm that, I fit in and I'm cool. So I think that's more so of like, if I see him on the other team, I'm cool. See him on my team, I'm like, hey, bro, we gotta have a conversation.
No, it's funny you say that though, because I spoke about this early in the year in one of my earlier press conferences, and I was saying, you know, it's like a hood pass, it's like a white pass in the league. Like, all right, white dude legit, like Kevin Love, like we got players. We were just
talking about this,
right? Like Austin Reeves, but like when I saw you in the bubble, I remember after the game. We played you on the bubble when I was in Miami, and I was like, yo, white dude can hoop. I think because when I see you initially, man, as soon as you catch the ball, press up into him hard and see what he can do. They normally fall. Like you normally out there to shoot. And you shot one from deep so comfortably. I'm like, it's like that. And I'm like, all right, I'm in him. He ain't gonna get a shot off. And then next time I try to get in you and you drove, I'm like, oh, he got it.
That's the thing I love. Like when you like what you just said is, I'm not a shooter. Like,
bro, you a shooter, bro. You can shoot.
I'm not a shooter.
I'm watching you work out, bro. And my son came to practice,
for sure.
And I said, watch Donte's legs on his shots. Like, you shoot from deep effortlessly because your legs are like into your shots.
But I just don't like. If you were like, if I checked in on a court and you were like, he's a shooter, that's everything to me because I love it. Because now
I wouldn't call you a shooter though.
What I want to do. What I want to do is call me a shooter. Yeah. Because as soon as you crowd up, I'm gonna go past you and I'm gonna get Jordan or somebody a wide open three, and I'm running down the other end.
You a hooper,
like
but you're good enough. Like 35% 3-point shooter is very lethal with your skill set.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
What people don't realize though, and this is like guarding on one end and then having to like knock down shots on the other is hella hard.
Oh yeah, you can.
It's hella hard. It's different when you guarding like the worst player on the court on the other end. But when you coming down, you guarded one or two, like,
oh, I know.
That's tough.
8 years in Philly, and they told me I wasn't scoring enough, but I had to stop the other best player, and I still ended up with 20, which is, yeah. And then Wiggs was talking about that too.
It's tough.
You know, Wiggs got to the playoffs last year. He was like, man, the playoffs are easy. And he was like, I had mad energy, and he was saying, you know, during the regular season, I'm guarding everybody. Man, I'll be tired. Like, I don't be having the energy to go crazy on offense. Like, I'm tired, and people just don't get that. You know, that two-way player thing that is more rare than ever now in our game.
I think that's helping us, like our team personally. Because if you think about Wiggs, Clay, me, JK, like you got you got guys that can just be like, all right, you need a break. Like I always talk about JK all the time. Like, yo, you picking up fool, you need one just to give you a break. Yeah. Like I'll pick up fool, you relax for one possession. Now you come back and guard again. I think that's really gonna help us
for sure.
And I'm just saying, it'll help you, especially with the Celtics. It's a lot of scores over there. Like that interchange was going to make for a hell of a June.
Yeah.
And that versatility is an understatement.
As long as basketball is kept first, that's a bar. But talking about our successes in life, you know, when we ask all our guests, you know, suffering from success, you know, everyone wants to be successful, whatever your version of that is. Most people, they think it's money or fame, but being in the NBA, it's different types of things you have to deal with stemming from being in the NBA and being famous. And so from all your experiences, you know, how have you suffered from success? And it being white too. And I'm not being like funny or anything, but you know, I always go back to the Kyle Korver conversation. I was listening to one of the NBA team meetings where we were talking about, you know, finances and dealing with pressures from family and money and, you know, a guy taking care of everybody. And Kyle Korver looks around and says, you guys pay your parents rent? Why? And there's nothing wrong with it, just, you know, not knowing and not having the background of it all. And so that's why I like to ask different players from all over different places of the earth, how has your success hindered you or brought any pain or trauma to your life being an NBA player?
I just learned that when I get too high, there's always something coming to knock me down. So like I've kind of experienced that. Like go back to that injury, like I was riding a high. Like I was hooping. I'm talking, you know, we're talking about contract extension, we're doing this and that, blah blah blah. Like boom, got hurt. Now I'm deep in a hole.
Yeah.
So like for me, and there's also little things like even within the span of games, like you play well for 3 games, like don't like for me, I gotta remind myself like don't come in walking with your chest up a little bit more and you're hot, like be the same you because something's gonna come and knock you down. But that's vice versa too. Is like just because you playing bad for 3 games, like be you, because you're gonna come back and you're gonna have a game where you're gonna be hooping. Everybody gonna be like, oh, he's back. Right. So for me, it's more so about just staying like level, like, and it's funny because my girl at home always be reminding me like, man, like pick up your energy today. You good, right? Or if I'm walking around like, oh, you had a good, all right, like stay level, and I need that, you know what I mean? So, and then like from the financial stuff that everybody talks about, like I kind of got to remind my parents, I got to remind my family, like, yo, I'm good. Like, I can do this for you and this and that. Like, for my parents, it's always been, if, you know, they got 10 cents, they going to give me 9 and they going to keep a penny for themselves. Right. And they going to make that penny work. Right. Like, for me, it's like, I got to really tell them, like, this is what we're going to do. And you guys are going to be okay with it. Right. Because I'm going to be okay. Yep. And once they know I'm okay, they don't care about anything else. Because even the minimum amount of money in the NBA is a lot of money in this world. So
true story.
For sure.
One last question. No one person is an island. So all of us, you know, on the stage, in this room, for a matter of fact, are here because of decisions we've made and the work we put in, but also the people around us. You know, when we were kids, you know, teenagers, you know, college, so on and so forth. So when you think back, who was that one person who was meant the most to you on your professional journey? And, you know, just
one
why?
Person?
Yeah, pick one.
I can't pick one, bro.
Great answer.
I can't. I got 3.
Oh, yeah, 3 then.
My mom, dad, and brother. Okay. No matter what.
Okay, like, so here's my question now. Is your brother older?
My brother's older.
So, E.T., we're all second sons.
Yeah. Well, I'm a third.
You're a third.
If you do my dad, I'm like 1 of 8. So.
Damn. Right, but I thought, but your mom has how many kids?
My mom has 3.
3. Okay, so you're third. Okay. Robert Smith, who was on earlier, has a second son theory, but an even younger son. But why is it that the younger brothers tend to work out from their experiences they've seen through the older brother?
I got to watch my brother mess up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I got to watch. It's the same thing in everything. Like, bro, if I'm on the bench and I see the starter, whatever, I'm like, I ain't gonna do that when I get in the game. Like, it's exactly what it. Or my brother has success with certain things. I'm doing exactly what he did. Yeah. And it makes parenting for my parents hella easy. Right. Cause like, but there's a lot of people that really don't pay attention to their older siblings and what they're doing. But I knew right from wrong, and he knew right from wrong. So when he made a mistake, he look at me and, all right, cool, I ain't gonna do that. Right. And it makes it easy going through, you know, life.
And that's what makes me think Steph is weird in all accounts. He's the oldest son, and
he's different.
He's a perfect human being. I don't know, something wrong with him. We gonna find out.
Thanks, Donte. Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you.
White boy Rick back in the building. Appreciate
that, bro.